The world's upside down, Deborah. The world's upside down. We cannot have, the government cannot be allowed to have British people homeless whilst paying hoteliers, corrupt, rapacious hoteliers, £200 a night to put up people that arrived illegally on the south coast, and put them up not for a week or for a long weekend, put them up indefinitely for years at £200 per person per night. We can't have that. It's an extraordinary tribute to the patience of the British people that there are not Ballymena type riots going on across Britain all the time. It shows the truth of what I've always said, that though racism exists in Britain, it's by no means the worst on the European continent, and if you think Britain's racist, you never lived in France. So, tribute to the British people. But enough is...
Starmer has just taken a devastating blow, and this one cut deep. George Galloway went live and ripped open a secret the Labour Party would have preferred stayed buried. There was no build-up, no hesitation, just a blunt, unfiltered revelation that tore through Starmer's carefully polished image in a matter of moments. What Galloway exposed wasn't routine political sparring. It felt personal, it was deeply damaging, and it sent shockwaves racing through Westminster. The fade cracked in full view, and for Starmer, there may be no restoring it now.
Get put up in a hotel for years at £200 a night in public money. You cannot possibly tolerate that. It's astounding that it's been tolerated so far. But the fault lies not with the guy in the hotel. The fault lies with the politicians we elected that are allowing that system to continue, and continue over many years and different parties in government. Keir Starmer says he was going to smash the criminal gangs. When are they getting smashed, Keir? More likely you get smashed than you smashing the criminal gangs. It's intolerable for a variety of reasons, and money is only one of them. If you put a couple of hundred 20 and 30-year-old guys, single men, in a hotel, in a community, what do you think's going to happen next? Inevitable. I don't need to spell it out to you, especially as you're a lady.
British politics isn't merely unsettled, it feels like it's coming apart at the seams, and the latest controversy lands directly at Keir Starmer's door. What started as a straightforward question about transparency has spiralled into a full-scale political storm. At the heart of it sits a 20,000 luxury flat reportedly provided free of charge by a billionaire landlord with significant connections. Starmer's defence that no taxpayer money was involved has only fuelled further suspicion. If the public wasn't footing the bill, then who was, and what, if anything, came attached? This was no modest spare room tucked away out of sight. It was an 18 million penthouse in Covent Garden. Sleek, elevated, impossible to ignore. Reports suggest it functioned as more than just accommodation, with whispers of campaign meetings, strategic discussions, and party coordination unfolding inside. Yet the public is being told it was simply a quiet space for his son to study, an explanation that has struggled to convince. Critics and voters alike are pressing the same concern: influence. When vast wealth quietly covers the costs, the inevitable question becomes, what is the true price? Then, George Galloway stepped forward. Often dismissed as an outsider voice, he seized on what others appeared reluctant to confront. While Westminster murmured in private, he spoke directly and without restraint, arguing this was never about kindness or convenience, but about access. Galloway didn't just challenge the arrangement, he framed it as part of a wider pattern. portraying a Labour leader benefiting from the support of a billionaire with party connections, raising doubts that this was generosity rather than leverage.
You know what's going to happen. 200 single guys in a hotel, in a community. The whole question of alcohol and drugs and girls and boys and crime, it's inevitable. And so, for the sake of social peace in our country, for the sake of the safety of the refugees themselves, we need a different solution to this, and we need it now, because the height of the summer is not yet upon us. And at the height of the summer, that 1,000 a day might become 1,500, might become 2,000 a day. And we never know when the straw that breaks the camel.
This isn't merely a scandal, it's a full-scale power audit, with allegations that Lord Wahid Ali, media mogul and behind-the-scenes strategist, hasn't just funneled cash into Labour, but wielded influence at the highest levels. This isn't standard campaign support, it's about shaping narratives, steering decisions and scripting messages. If true, Labour's claim to independence crumbles. Suddenly, George Galloway isn't the outlier, he's the one lifting the veil. As the pressure mounted, Keir Starmer finally responded, but instead of transparency he offered loopholes, insisting no taxpayer money was involved, a line so fragile it immediately snapped under scrutiny. Because this has never been about who signed the cheque, it's about motive. Why would a billionaire bankroll a Prime Minister's inner circle, fund his lifestyle and provide a political stronghold for free? That question reverberates through newsrooms and living rooms alike, and the deafening silence around the answer only fuels suspicion.
For you, as if you thought the gravy train had hit the buffers. Well, it hasn't, ladies and gentlemen. More revelations from Keir Starmer. This morning he admits that he took £20,000 in donations from Lord Ali for accommodation for his 16-year-old son to study, in his words, peacefully for his GCSE exams. I presume this means that's part of the £20,000 that was racked up for using the apartment that Lord Ali has, £18 million apartment apparently, in Covent Garden, a penthouse. Now, previously they said they used that for meetings. Previously they said Keir Starmer worked there on the night of the election. Previously they said that this was a place that he used to use for planning meetings during the election campaign. Now he's saying it was for his son to study peacefully for his GCSEs. Well, I don't know how much peaceful studying he was doing while they're all having a party on election night. Really? Seriously? Starmer said somebody offered me accommodation. Somebody, you mean Lord Ali, offered me accommodation where we could do that, and I took it up, and it was the right thing to do.
The latest Westminster scandal isn't just messy, it's explosive, centred on a luxury 18 million penthouse in Covent Garden, a billionaire with deep Labour connections, and a Prime Minister whose silence now shouts louder than any denial. Keir Starmer faces a credibility crisis few modern politicians survive. This isn't some modest side apartment, it's a fortress of privilege reportedly hosting everything from campaign operations to strategy meetings. Yet Starmer insists it was merely a quiet study space for his son, an explanation that has failed to convince the public or his own party. In a nation where millions are forced to choose between heating and eating, the notion of a billionaire covering the Prime Minister's rent, and perhaps more, lands like a gut punch.
Of fact, he delayed as long as he could, and then beyond that which was acceptable to the parliamentary authorities, the depth, and I mean real depth, of his financial relationship with Lord Ali. No British Prime Minister has ever allowed a billionaire to buy his clothes, buy his glasses, buy his wife's clothes, put him up in a multi-million-pound penthouse apartment in Soho in London. No British Prime Minister has ever had the kind of financial relationship with the billionaire Lord Ali that Keir Starmer had.
Enter George Galloway. Long written off as a loud fringe figure, he's suddenly the only one naming what others dare not. This isn't just about a single apartment. It's a glimpse into a power structure cloaked in wealth, access, and public scrutiny, with connections being traced faster than Downing Street can spin them. Galloway alleges what many quietly fear. This wasn't mere support. It was influence. Lord Wahid Ali, a media magnate with deep insider access, hasn't simply donated. He's allegedly shaped Labour's messaging, operations, and perhaps even policy, leaving the party looking far too comfortable with elite backers pulling strings from the shadows. And when Keir Starmer finally broke his silence, it wasn't to clarify but to sidestep, insisting no public money was spent. Yet that misses the point entirely. The question isn't who paid the bills, it's what Ali expected in return. Because in politics, nothing is ever truly free.
Is now widely held in Britain to be screwing the entire country. That's what concerns me. And he is in an improper relationship with the gay Bangladeshi billionaire Lord Ali. That improper relationship is a financial one. Keir Starmer has accepted utterly inappropriate gifts and financial support from Lord Ali in the first instance without declaring it.
Parliamentary authorities had to intervene just to force disclosure, and even now the full extent of the arrangement remains unclear. The public still doesn't know how deep the relationship runs or how long it has existed, with whispers circulating about eyewear, wardrobe bills, and campaign perks, not mere gifts, but favours that are starting to feel like currency. Inside the Labour Party, the mood is shifting. MPs are stunned, some unaware the arrangement existed, others combing their own records in anticipation of further revelations. The silence from the top isn't reassuring, it's amplifying suspicion. This was once the party of moral high ground and reform. Now grassroots activists who campaigned on transparency are left questioning whether it was ever more than branding. As trust erodes, the cracks widen. Reform UK is gaining momentum. Independents are rising in the polls, and George Galloway, long dismissed, is now centre stage, speaking to voters who feel betrayed and ignored. Because the flat is just a symbol, the true scandal lies in what it represents: access over accountability, a system where the unelected can shape policy through backroom influence. Lord Wahid Ali isn't a passive donor, he's a power player, a strategist, and if reports are accurate, one of the architects behind Labour's digital and campaign operations.
Thing to do, you plonker. And then he goes, it didn't cost the taxpayer a penny. Well, that's all right then. I mean, who on earth thinks it's okay to take money from a lord who's loaded in order to put your child in an apartment that he owns so that he can study peacefully? What influence does Lord Ali have on this government? I keep asking the question, I keep getting no answers.
No votes, no official role, yet potentially wielding more influence than most MPs. That's the heart of the democratic crisis. When billionaires quietly shape agendas while the public is fed soundbites, the system begins to decay. George Galloway isn't merely challenging Keir Starmer, he's signalling to the entire political class that nothing goes unseen, and voters are paying attention. Every decision from Starmer's government is now under scrutiny: housing policy reversals, climate positions, even cabinet reshuffles. Are they driven by merit or by influence? His refusal to provide real answers isn't just damaging, it's dangerous, leaving each silence to breed more speculation. Across Britain, the question grows louder: who truly leads this government? Starmer or his backers? If this episode reflects more than poor judgment, if it's a recurring pattern, It marks the unravelling of a carefully curated persona, the former prosecutor, once the voice of reason, now reduced to a polished figurehead trading transparency for influence. Within Labour, tensions are rising. Some MPs feel blindsided, others fear their turn, and the party's front is starting to crack under quiet anger and mounting panic.